Listen to what Mel Gibson just said about Kamala Harris.
You got the IQ of a fence post.
Let's fact check that. Can you point to something in your life that you think was a mistake that you've learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know you make lots of mistakes.
So, guess what just went down? Everyone's favorite Hollywood troublemaker Mel Gibson just went all in on Kamala Harris, and wow, it was wild. Like, not some soft talk, but full drama-style roast energy, and the way he dragged her had people gasping, like, forget all that fake, nice political talk, this was straight up chaos. And the funniest part is, he made it sound like some stand-up comedy gone wrong. People couldn't believe what came out of his mouth. It was messy, loud, and totally unreal.
What do you think the world will be like in a second term with President Trump's second term? A lot of people
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah.
Miserable track record.
Which way?
Appalling track record. No policies to speak of.
And the border, right?
And she got the IQ of a fence post.
Yo, before we spill the tea, hit that like and subscribe, because Mel Gibson just went full movie mode again. This dude aimed his wild energy at Kamala Harris and turned it into pure chaos that had everyone talking nonstop.
I don't know why Kamala Harris on her book tour keeps saying this. It's not true. She just appeared at a bookstore. Some say it looks like she was drunk. We can't be sure of that. But listen to what she says here.
Closest election for President of the United States in the 21st century.
Wow, I know that's right. The Howard grad did that here.
And a Howard grad did.
She keeps saying it was the closest election in the 21st century when it wasn't even.
So picture this. Mel Gibson sees Kamala doing her usual nervous giggle, trying hard to sound smart, but her words keep tripping over each other, and instead of staying chill, he goes full Mel mode, roasting her like crazy, and the look on his face was priceless, like he just saw someone try to heat soup without taking the lid off.
Kamala Harris, and it's going to continue to be her problem unless she actually learns how to develop a viewpoint, articulate it for the American people. Just say what you actually believe. Don't do this word salad, talking around in circles. It doesn't work, and it's why she didn't win.
So Mel didn't just drag Kamala for her words. He went after the way she talks too. Like every time she gives a speech, it's giving IKEA instructions with no manual. She starts all confident, laughs a bit, repeats herself like she's stuck on replay, and then just ends awkwardly with that weird silence, and Mel, being his usual wild Hollywood self, roasted that whole vibe like it was the worst script he ever read.
Kamala Harris has a new book out. I know it's dog-eared on your nightstand, called 107 Days.
Real page turner.
That's the length of her campaign. She called you in it a juvenile and a shapeshifter, and even almost called you a bad word, but she didn't write the whole thing out. Anyway, she is now blaming the campaign, her loss, for the fact that it was short. That's one of the main things she cites. She had more time, could have gotten more traction. Your reaction to that?
My reaction is if you look at the polling, both the public and the private polling, the problem is not that Kamala's campaign was too short, it's that it was—
Bro, Mel wasn't holding back. He said, Kamala's talks sound less like politics and more like one of those sad comedy nights where people laugh out of pity and not because it's funny, and since Mel's never been the polite type, he went full meltdown mode, like what in the world am I even listening to right now?
JD Vance summarizes Kamala Harris the best right here, though, when it comes to everything she says.
I listened to Kamala Harris for 90 seconds, and I actually feel like I've gotten dumber in the process, and I have no idea what she actually believes.
So get this, Mel Gibson didn't just talk about Kamala, he shredded her whole image, saying she's got the energy of cold oatmeal, like, yeah, it's there, but nobody wants it. He joked that she's like that boring sub-teacher who plays random videos and pretends to teach while everyone's half asleep. And when it came to her laugh, oh man, Mel went wild, saying it hits at the worst times, like a car alarm in the middle of a funeral, not cute, just annoying. And then he even mocked it himself, like imagine the Braveheart guy giggling like Kamala trying to dodge a question. It was straight chaos, and he ended by saying she acts like forgetting lines is some kind of art move, but the crowd's over it. They're not buying that show anymore.
Republican senators and Donald Trump would have won by an even bigger landslide, because the more people know about Kamala Harris, the more they realize there's no substance there. I mean, agree or disagree with Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, they actually had substance. They could actually articulate a viewpoint. I listened to Kamala Harris for 90 seconds, and I actually feel like I've gotten dumber in the process, and I have no idea what she actually believes.
So Mel went off saying Kamala's whole career feels like one of those pointless movie sequels nobody ever asked for, but they keep making just because the first one did. Okay. He compared her to Fast and Furious 9, all noise, no spark, and said people don't even know what she actually does, only that she somehow never leaves. And then he roasted her hard, calling her the political version of an under construction sign, like always there but doing nothing. And honestly, that line alone had the crowd losing it.
Let's talk about Kamala Harris's book. She's got a book out. I guess it opens up today, but last night she gave an exclusive to Rachel Maddow, who at which time was kind of mild in her questioning. I'm not sure she read the book. I mean, I've seen more excerpts. She seemed kind of, and they talked more about what was going on in politics. But here's Kamala Harris on why she why she regrets not being more aggressive and telling Joe Biden not to run.
So when I write this, it's because I realize that I have and had a certain responsibility that I...
So here's where it got extra spicy. Mel started roasting how Kamala handles her public image, saying every time she does an interview, it's like a kid giving a book report on something they never even read. She just talks, smiles, laughs, and hopes nobody notices. She didn't say anything real. He joked it's like ordering fancy food and getting a sad plate of lettuce with glitter on it. And then he dragged her for always stating the obvious, like she'd proudly say, "Water is wet," and clap for herself. Mel said she's like a GPS stuck repeating turn left till you're just spinning in a parking lot. And then he dropped the real burn, saying her whole political image feels fake, like a movie set where the backup dancer suddenly becomes the lead when they clearly ain't ready. And in his eyes, she's got the same leader energy as someone who won a raffle by accident.
Mel blasts Kamala over what he sees as a lackluster track record and says she hasn't laid out any serious policies.
So Mel kept the jokes rolling, saying Kamala's speeches sound like those cheesy posters that say stuff like reach for the moon, but in her case it's more like the moon is the moon and the stars are stars, with that same awkward laugh. And he said that's not leadership, that's late night comedy, pretending to be politics. Then he went savage, comparing her to a background movie character who disappears halfway through and nobody even notices till the end credits roll by. Then everyone's just like, wait, where'd she go? And the way Mel roasted her had the whole thing feeling like a live show where he threw her flaws right under the spotlight and the crowd got a front row seat to the chaos.
Sink in. It's the tightest race in a half a century, and behind the scenes, Democrats are worried she can't stretch herself across the finish line. Just ask Mel Gibson.
A lot of people I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah.
So Mel just kept going. He said when he starts roasting, he doesn't stop till the target's totally wrecked, like a bad movie script nobody wants. And then he went after Kamala's interviews, saying they feel like reruns of some boring soap opera where she just nods, smiles, laughs, and says random stuff like she's trying out for a confused teacher role on Nickelodeon. He joked that listening to her talk policy is like hearing someone read fortune cookies out loud. The words are there, but the meaning's missing unless you're halfway through a wine bottle. And then he hit her hardest, saying she's like a loading screen in politics, all flash, no finish, like those movie trailers that promise explosions, but the movie ends up being a snooze. And he said her whole vice president era could basically be called Kamala Harris, the trailer all hype, no story.
TMZ caught up with actor and filmmaker Mel Gibson, who reaffirmed his support for former President Donald Trump, and he had some sick burns for Vice President Kamala Harris.
So Mel went all in, saying Kamala repeats herself like a lazy screenwriter trying to stretch a short script into a full movie, just doubling lines, tossing filler, and acting like it's deep. He said, it's not emphasis. It's her forgetting what she already said. And then he dragged her world image too, calling her the sidekick in a buddy cop flick, the one fumbling with car keys while the real hero does all the work. And then with his usual dramatic flair, he joked that putting her in charge is like casting an intern to star in Gladiator 2. You'd start watching and realize fast she doesn't even know where Rome is. And Mel said the whole idea of her running the country feels like some sci-fi parody so bad even the aliens would call it unrealistic.
Because Kamala Harris doesn't want a debate. She doesn't want this one. She tried every way in the world to weasel out of it by asking for rules to be changed just so she would have an excuse. issues. The fact is, the one good thing in all of this is that it's an early debate. And that's important because some of the debates in the past have happened after half the people had already voted.
So Mel totally ripped into how the media calls Kamala some kind of history-making hero, saying she's hyped up like a movie legend, but really gives off late-night infomercial vibes where you're not even sure what's being sold, he said. Her team sells her like a ShamWow, all flash, no depth, and when you look close, it's just a wet rag. He mocked her for reacting instead of leading like that background extra in an action movie who never throws a punch, and even laughed about her approval ratings crashing faster than his patience during a bad script read, and by the time he was done, the crowd was howling while Kamala's image was left in pieces.
He said 3 sentences in 100 minutes. That whole cutaway that we did was her just like yapping and laughing.
Yes.
It killed me, and it totally underscored the bullet that we dodged, but I don't understand how people can still look at her and with a straight face say, yes, that's right, don't you wish she was there? The most unintellectual person I've ever met. And to draw on like a Google video about elephants and not even talk about like it, that was our vice president. That's the problem too, is she's not just a failed presidential candidate, she was our vice president. And
so Mel wrapped it up like he was shooting a movie, picturing Kamala stepping into the Oval Office doing that awkward laugh and giving one of those speeches that sound deep but go nowhere while everyone claps just to fill the silence. He painted her as the walking mix of a bad sequel and a blooper reel, and by the time he was done, people were cracking up so hard that even Mel didn't bother hiding his smirk, knowing he'd just dropped the roast of the year. Alright guys, if you had fun with this wild story, then you already know what to do. Go hit that like button right now and make sure you smash subscribe to 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐿 Reports, where the real gossip never sleeps and the drama's always fresh. Don't blink, because the next one's gonna be even crazier.